Well, here we are. It's Saturday, and I feel the urge to make another video. And today, I'm going to make a video from my home, basically because it's too hot outside. It's like 29, 30 degrees. But anyway, here we go. Some subjects that really fascinating, that are really interesting to touch on. And one of the subjects that I want to touch on today is synchronicities, the signs and synchronicities. And this relates to nothing other than everyday signs and synchronicities. There's no association with any soul journey, labeling, or anything like this. This is purely signs and synchronicities. And it's something that I've been very much in tune with on my journey. And many people wonder about signs and synchronicities, their meaning, their purpose, and what to do with them, and how to respond or how to react. And one thing I've noticed, particularly the last 3 to 4 months, is the more we're aligned with our life path, with what we're trying to manifest, with our higher self, with our soul journey, with everything in that let's say, in that embodiment, the signs and synchronicities will come back to us far more stronger. And signs and synchronicities can be metaphoric. They don't necessarily relate to a particular person or to a particular place. They can be metaphoric. So when we're receiving these signs and synchronicities in our face, like really in our face, I believe it's our ego that's being tested, because only the ego will want to do something with it. Our heart and soul, no, it's thanks, it's a confirmation, it's a sign that I'm on my journey, I'm on my right path, and that's it. What will be, will be. But on the other hand, those that see these signs and synchronicities all the time, they have to have a reason. What does it mean? When's it going to happen? Why is this happening to me? And, it's just so funny, this, even in my own little existence here in this little hick town in the middle of Croatia, the last 2 weeks, the capital of Russia, Moscow, has been directly connected with this town of 20,000 people. That's of no, let's say, significance on the international arena or as far as this country is concerned, other than its status as the town that fell during the war. So we have 2 museums here. Last week, the 2 museums were representing the whole of Croatia at an international exhibition in Moscow. And yesterday, I heard that the Imperial Russian Ballet is performing Swan Lake in this town. And this town is very small. A number of people that will go to this event would be very small, very select few. Plus the event is outside under the stars. So it's completely really, really cool. And I'm not allowing my ego to read anything more into that than I'm on the right path. Everything that I'm doing today is for my highest good in everything that I'm doing. And this is how you should view it also. Let's stop looking for the reasons and the whys and the whens and the hows, and because these are all thoughts and human traits that we need to know the answer. Isn't it beautiful when you get a message from spirit through a synchronicity that everything's okay? And the more that you're aware of them, the more that you are open to receiving these things, these signs and synchronicities, the more they will come. And it's not about looking for them, it's being aware of them. And many people are closed off their minds, or don't want to read too much into signs and synchronicities. because it's not important to them. But many do, and many do live their life following their path and following the signs and synchronicities that they're receiving. So when you're on your day-to-day life and you keep seeing these signs and synchronicities, try not to read too much into them. Just take it as a sign that you are on the right path. Whatever you're manifesting, whatever your highest desires are, and if it's for your highest good, it will come about. Don't look for an answer, because you are the answer. And this whole journey is about learning, getting to know who we are, getting to understand that we don't need the answers, getting to understand that we don't need all of these things that we believe that we need and that other people perceive us to need, and how things should be. Remember, the 5% of the population don't follow the trend. They buck the trend. And there are many reasons for that. But now this number is increasing and increasing and increasing. And as we're shifting these energies, things start to happen. What we've got in Europe now, we've got the youngest French president ever. And yesterday in Ireland, voted their first a gay prime minister also, who's not Irish. Well, he's Irish, but his descendancy and his origins are from India. So we have in Europe a dynamic of new, young politicians. We need to do the same in the UK, but, old school is old school, isn't it? But these two leading countries are changing, and this is positive. And the old school brigades will start to have to respond to this nouveau riche type of politics, because they have a different perspective on life. They have a different perspective of what the younger people want, and they are more conscious of what the younger people need in their everyday life. Doesn't mean to say it makes them good politicians. It just means that there's a change and a shift in consciousness, and that's all positive. And we are going to continue to see this rolling through into various other parts of the world, because there needs to be this balance. What else did I want to talk about? Yes, this going down into 3D and going back up into 5D, this pattern that's been fairly prevalent in the last week to 10 days. And I know that there are many of us going through this. And some are at the verge of giving up and stopping, but it's a bit late for that, isn't it, really? Many are unsure of what's going on there. Everything is falling apart in 3D, and everything in 5D is cool and hunky-dory. And many are also being brought back to, let's say, past life situations, or current life situations that have occurred in their current life, past. And the only guidance I can give for that is that there is always a reason for something coming back. And it's potentially, probably, more likely than not, to close, to change what is left open. And that may mean cutting ties with the person. That may mean having to think of a new way of dealing with this person. But it's normally something to do with closure and establishing and really closing that chapter with that person. And it doesn't matter whether it's a close friend, a family member, an ex-partner, or something of this nature. Be sure that there are things that are going to come back that haven't been closed properly, that need to be closed properly. They need to be addressed. And if what I'm going to say with this, and there is always a caveat with much of what I say, is that if something's coming back and you leave it as it is, it's going to come back in another way or form in the future. And if it hasn't been dealt with properly from a position of love, then it's going to come back and it's going to teach you another lesson. So we are finding right now a lot of closing doors, a lot of revisiting, a lot of reanalysis. I know that I've been analyzing my whole character profile for the last few days. And, you know, even becoming isolated, taking myself out of society, not going out. And this is further endorsed or confirmed by when I have gone out, the signs and synchronicities has just gone through like in my face. And this is when I'm at one with myself, when I'm walking and don't give two shits about anything that is going on, and just in the moment. And they're just coming. And this is a further confirmation that what we are doing is the right way forward. We're not going back into old ways. We're not going back into old habits. We're not going back into old ways of doing things. We're actually stopping, thinking, rationalizing, and coming up with another solution. And if there is no solution, we just have to let it go until another time when that situation comes back up. And then there may be a solution available. And I know we still have this issue with abundance, financial abundance. I got love coming from all over the world. Financial abundance is a real sticking point, and particularly right now for many light workers. And I don't have an answer for that. All I can say about that is continue to do what you believe is right, to reach a point where it will start to come back. Because this whole journey is about investing in ourselves. And maybe what you started to do a couple of years ago or a year ago, you're not going to see any, let's say, returns on that investment for a period of time. If you're doing something every day and you're still not getting abundance from it, you have to think about what you're doing. Is there an underlying message there? And is there an underlying issue that you need to resolve? Like, is this the right path? Is this the right career path? Is this the right course of action? You know, planting seeds is planting seeds. If we're constantly planting seeds, eventually the whole group of plants will start to flourish and flow. And when I would like to go back to this topic of synchronicities, because I think there are I can give you some examples from my own life that may offer some, let's say, comfort or some further confirmation of where you are at. I met a particular person in 2014 under a complete strange set of circumstances. I'm not going to elaborate any more than that. And he asked me for some help with a certain project, which I tried to do. And in the end, I couldn't invest any more energy into the project because of the issues that were coming back that I could not resolve because I couldn't convince one person to do this or another person to do that. So I walked away from it, but I left the project in good standing, so to speak. The beginning of last year, again, they approached me for help and guidance, and I just basically said, look, if you haven't changed your thought process, there's nothing more I can help you with. You need to come back with some different proposal or a different thought process to enable me to go forward. And then this year, I've been working on another project that's quite exciting. Doesn't pay the bills though, but it's okay. And the project is a connection between 4 or 5 light worker friends of mine here in this part of the world. And this year, this person has been in my presence 3 times. And I kept asking myself, why is this person keep coming back? He hasn't changed. He hasn't learned. What am I to do with this person? Other than tell them outright that they're an effing idiot and they need to change it. Otherwise, and please don't effing call me again. But I'm not that type of person. But the last time I saw them here was, I said, come back to me when you have a finished product, so that I can look at it tangibly. And during the last few weeks, I've been working on this project here with other light workers, and all of a sudden, synchronicities with that person's name were showing. So I said, okay, let's merge this person with our project to give it some weight, to give it some novelty, to give it some uniqueness, and to give it some energy. And when I look at the person that I'm referring to and their ancestors, this was a wish of theirs. So this week I've met with that person again with my lightworker friends, and we've managed to make an agreement with this person to move forward in the way that we feel will benefit him, benefit us, and benefit humanity. So that whole cycle has taken 3 years of perseverance, 3 years of belief, and 3 years of waiting for finding the right project or finding the right situation where it can be slotted into. Because believe me, there are things that I've done 20 years ago that are coming back to me now, whether it's knowledge or wisdom, that will serve a purpose into this whole complete project that I'm doing with some colleagues of mine. So it's not just recent events that are coming up under the microscope or coming back to us. There are older events also. And whether they come through in sign synchronicities or physical persons or physical situations, it's important to understand the reason and how they can integrate into your life without asking why or how or when. If someone keeps coming back to you, there's a reason. And maybe you need to give them something to help guide them, or they have a contribution to what you're doing or how you're doing it. So it's thinking from a different way and thinking from a different perspective instead of the what, why, how, and when. You ask yourself the question, this thing keeps coming back to me. Is there a reason? What are you trying to show me? And as you analyze that, you get to the point, the answer that you're seeking. So let the signs and synchronicities flow and let them lighten up your day. Let them fill you with love and light and energy, because they certainly did that to me during the times of low vibrations, because I have been in low vibrations this week, as many of us have been. And it is this, are you sure that we can't convince you to come back into this other path? Are you sure that we can't tantalize you with something to tempt you to come our way? And the answer is no. Somebody may try to get a reaction from you, to trigger you. And if that person normally triggers you from the past, triggers you, they have achieved their objective. So the idea is to use your new thought processes, to use this new programming that you've done yourself and put it into practice, because it will be there and it will come back and it will keep coming back, because it is a test. There is a breaking point for everyone, and there are certain levels of tolerance that we will always accept. But there's also a time when we can say no, and we can always walk away. So when you're dilly-dallying during your day, and you're getting these signs and synchronicities, detach from what you perceive it to be, and just accept it, give thanks, and know that it's to direct you and to keep you on the path that you're on. When the signs stop, you know that there's something amiss, and you should be consciously aware of this. And then you can start to you start to go back on the path that you're supposed to be on, and the signs and synchronicities will come back. There you go. There's a weekend video for you. I trust you're well. Take it easy. Until the next time. See you again soon. Bye-bye.